Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, in last video we have seen what is JDBC drivers. Now in this video we are going to see how to make a Java application with the JDBC connectivity. Now in this video we are going to see important steps which we follow or which is constant in any kind of database connectivity. The first thing, you need API. You need package which gives me all those methods, all these classes which is provided by your JDBC application, which is required for your JDBC application, and that particular package is nothing but java.sql package. So we have to first import your JDBC package, and that is your java.sql package. Now after importing that particular thing, the second step is to load and register JDBC driver. So we have already know what is JDBC drivers and which type of driver we are going to use. Now one thing I want to tell you, that for different types of databases we are having different types of drivers. For MySQL, if you want to connect with a MySQL or MS SQL, there will be a different driver. If you want to interact with Oracle, then there will be a different driver class available. So basically sometimes the classes are already available, but sometimes you need to configure it. So now in next video we are going to see how practically we can interact with Oracle databases. So I will show you the steps how to load the particular or how to configure a particular driver. So basically to load and register driver, that is the second step. After that you have to create a connection with the databases by providing the database name, username and password. Okay, so basically you have to provide connection string, and how to get the connection string I will show you in next video. But for now you just understand this statement which we are going to write, it is comprises of three things. It tells you about it, which database to be connected and what are the credentials to interact with or to connect that database. After opening the connection, you have to write the statements, SQL statements to interact with the database, and for that you require statement object. So create a statement object to perform a query. That is your fourth step. After that you have to execute a statement, and that statement may give you some result or it will definitely give some notification to you, and that is nothing but a result set. So it returns a result set. Now if I'm getting kind of a result set or a data, then in that case you have to navigate in that result set. Okay, and that is being done by processing the result set. So we are having result set class which allows me to interact with a or do in different types of interactions with a result set. Then we need to close the result set and the statement object. Now one thing you have to understand, we have created the connection which is like kind of a link to the database. It is an object. At the end everything is object in Java. So this link is also kind of a Java object. So once my purpose of interacting with the database is completed, we have to make sure that you should close it. Otherwise it will left open, and which is nothing but kind of a it unnecessarily creates a space, and at a times it may possible that you will run out of the connection. Whenever you try to create a new connection, already there are n number of connections being opened. That's why you may not have a space to create a new connection. So every time you have to deallocate or you have to manage those connections by either providing the close statement into the finally block or by using try or resource statement in Java 1.7, which we have already seen what is try with resource statement. So you have to make sure closing the connection, closing the statement, and that is your step. Now closing the result set and closing the statement and closing the connection can be done in a single statement, that is con.clause. How we can do that we will see in further slide. So first step is you have to load the driver. How you can do that? And that is being done by your driver manager. Driver manager, it's a class, and that class is having different methods, and all these methods are allowing me to create a connection with a databases. So driver manager class, it's act as an interface between user and the drivers. Drivers are being normally installed, but in order to interact with that drivers, JDBC drivers, which class allows you to do that? And that is nothing but your driver manager class. It keeps a track of a driver that are available and it handles the establishing connection between database and the appropriate driver. So basically you have a Java application in that you are having driver manager, the manager instant, and that driver manager object is allowing me to communicate with my JDBC driver. And that information about all the drivers, as I told you, on different database, for interacting with different database you require different drivers, and your driver manager who is the one who is keeping track of all these kind of drivers. If suppose, just let me give you a small example. If I'm interacting with Oracle and I have given a wrong driver, so that is being tracked by your driver manager. Then the driver manager class maintains a list of driver classes that have registered themselves by calling a method, and that is register driver. So first we are actually seeing this step where actually we are registering the driver. Okay, but if you want to know what are the drivers which is already registered with driver manager, and that you can get that information by using method register driver. So let's understand different methods which is given by driver manager. So the first method is public static void register driver, and it takes argument as a driver. So it is used to register the given driver with the driver manager. Okay, so if I want to register my driver with my driver manager, then you have to provide which driver it is. Make sure that the data type of that driver should be of type driver only, and then it will get registered by using register driver method. Now I have already registered my driver. Now I want to deregister. So for that there is a deregister driver method available. Connection, get connection. This is very important and this is extensively used. These two methods are being extensively used in our Java applications normally. So the third method is public static connection, get connection, and here you have to provide the which database or database URL you have to provide over here, which is in a string format. So it is used to establish a connection with a specified URL. Specified URL is nothing but a representation of your database. It is nothing but a link to your database. How you can get that link, I will show you in next demo. Then public static connection, get connection. Here we have three arguments. First is a URL which implies your identification of your database. Then your username to connect with that database and the password to the connecting to that database. So is used to establish connection with a specified URL, username and password. That's your methods given by driver manager. Next, that is third step, opening the connection, and that is being done by connection interface. One thing you have to keep in mind, it is an interface and it have a methods. You know, normally in interfaces we are having all the methods which is abstract. So basically a connection interface is indirectly giving me a control to open the connection and interact with the database. So the connection is a session between Java application and the database. Yes, it is a kind of an object. If I say if it is a kind of a object which is being linking your Java application with your database. Basically, if connection goes off, you cannot interact. So basically, the first thing, your connection has to be always open if you want to interact with the databases. So connection interface, it's a factory of a statement, prepared statement, and database metadata. These are the object of connections can be used to get the object of statement and database metadata and so on. Directly you cannot do that because it is the interfaces, but we have many methods which returns me a object of a connection type, then statement type, then metadata information can be taken, and so on. A connection interface provides many methods for transactions. So transaction management is being, for that we are having commit, rollback, then set, auto commit. There are various methods that have been given by your connection interfaces. So let's check it out. What are they? So the first method which is there, it's a create statement. This create statement method is returning you statement object. So create statement, it's statement object that can be used to execute a queries. So basically, for doing fourth step, where we are actually writing the query and we are passing that to the, which is nothing but a statement, and that is the statement passing is being happening through create statement. So you require create statement to fire the query to the databases. Then public statement, create statement, and here you can specify what type of result you want or how the results to be maintained. So create statement object that generate result set object which is given type and concurrency control. Then we are having here three methods has been there for transaction management. So public void set auto commit, which is telling me this which is telling my database not to commit any DML statement automatically. Otherwise, what will happen? Whatever changes you will do, it will be permanently done on your table or on your database. I don't want to commit my whatever SQL statement I'm firing. I don't want to do that, and that is being done by using set auto commit. You can make it false if you don't want to commit it. If I want to commit whatever I'm doing, whatever DML operations I'm doing, in that case you have to make it true. Then you are having commit and rollback. Committing the things, it's nothing but whatever operation, DML transaction we have done, just commit it. That means make changes permanent. Rollback is nothing but whatever transactional or operations you have done, just undo it, just revert it, and that is nothing but rollback. Then we are having close statement. As I told you, you need to close the connection and the statement before leaving the application, and that is nothing but done by your close statement. So closes the connection and releasing the JDBC resources immediately. Now we are having statement interface. Statement interfaces, it allow me to fire a query and I have to write a SQL statement, and that is being encapsulated, that SQL statement is being encapsulated in a statement object. So statement interface is providing me a method to execute a queries with the databases and as well as to write a query. So this statement interfaces is a factory of result set. So basically, what is the outcome of statement? It is always a result set. So basically, after firing a particular query, you definitely get some kind of a result or a notification, and that is nothing but a outcome or a return type of your statement interface. So it provides factory method to get a object of result set. So what are the methods of statement? So statement interface has given me a method. First is a execute query. Execute query, it taking string SQL, that is SQL statement you have to pass as an argument to it. It is used to execute select query and it returns result set to you. So Basically its return type is always result set. Okay, then we are having public int execute update. It is also taking SQL statement, but this method is allowing me to execute DML statements only. So the statements like create, drop, insert, update, delete can be used or can be written by using execute update. No select statement can be entertained by this method. Then we are having public boolean execute, which is taking SQL again as a parameter, string SQL as a parameter, and it can allow me to execute any kind of statement. Whenever multiple results has to come, in that case you can able to use execute. Then we are having execute batch. It allows me to execute a batch of commands. What is batch basically? Batch is nothing but multiple SQL statements I want to execute in one go, and that batch processing can be handled by using statement interface. So your statement interface is a parent interface for prepared statement and callable statement. So what is prepared statement? Prepared statement is allowing me to interact with whenever I have a parameterized queries. What is parameterized queries? Parameterized queries are the queries where we are not giving the input or kind of input data directly to the query. It is not a hard coded, it is like a runtime input given to the query, and where we are monitoring what type of a data is being inserted into the SQL query, and through which we are maintaining the security so that we can avoid the SQL injections and so on. What is prepared statement we are going to see in detail in coming slide, but just understand right now. Statement interface is a parent-most interface for prepared statement and callable statement. Prepared statement allows me to execute parameterized queries, and callable statement is allowing me to work with store procedures. Now result set. Result set is nothing but an outcome of particular select query. A result set is a kind of an object in which the data is being encapsulated. So basically in this particular result set, we should have two things. One is I should able to fetch the data, and second thing, I should able to navigate in the data. Okay, and for that there are various methods are available, and that is being given by result set. So the object of result set maintain the cursor pointing to the row of the table. So basically this object, if I compare, it is having cursor pointing always to the first row, and that row is not having any data. It is just always placing to the first row with it's kind of a heading section kind of. Then automatically whenever you want to fetch the data, you have to first go to the next row and then you have to fetch the data. So we are having a method called as next, which moves the pointer of your result set, and it allows me to navigate. So by default result set object can be moved forward only, but you can give the facility to backward redirection also, and that is for that we have to do modification into your statement object. So normally by default it is forward only, you can go in one direction only from top to bottom, and it is non-updatable. It never maintains the state. But we are having different methods to navigate and to have to fetch the data, and let's see the methods now. The first method is public boolean next. As I told you, if I'm considering this is my data which is in a tabular format, just imagine the tabular format. It is not actually tabular format in the object. So what happens, this data starts from second row, whereas my pointer always pointing to the row above it. So always remember, in result set the pointer always points one row above from where your actual data starts. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to move to the next row and then fetch the row. That's the motto of using next method. So it's used to move the cursor to one row next from the current position. Then previous, if you have made your result set scrollable in forward as well as backward direction, then you can move to previous. You can make use of previous to move to the last row. So it is used to move the cursor one row previous from the current position. First, I want to go to the top of the records, then you can go for first method. Last, go to bottom of the result set, so it goes to the last row of the result set. Absolute and relative, so it is used to move the cursor at a particular row, so that you have to provide here in the argument. Relative, it is used to move the cursor to the relative row in the result set. It may be a positive or a negative row, which you can specify. Here you may not know which row actually, so in that case you are just giving some random row in which is matching with that data, so that is relative. Then get in, get in, then get string, get string. Now these four methods are allowing me to fetch a data from the result set as per the data type. So first is a getInt. It is used to return a data specified column index from the current row as an integer. So basically, suppose if I'm having employee ID which is always an integer, then you can fetch it by using getInt. Similarly, you can, here input is column index. In table, if the column employee ID is first, then you have to provide 1 in the column index. Now suppose I don't know what order in the table the data actually have, what order of the column data has, so I can't provide 1 2 3 4. So in that case I can have column name as a parameter, so you can fetch the data based on column name also, and for that you have to give a string column name. Then get string, so if the data is a character based data, then you can use get string method. Again, you can go for column index or you can go for column name. That freedom has been given by result set. Okay, then we are having prepared statement. So prepared statements are nothing but, as I told you, it is a parent, it is having a parent that is a statement interface. So all the methods has been which it always inherits from statement interface, but it is also having its own way to do. So where you can go for prepared statements, have a look over here. Insert into EMP values. Here I have given some space holder. These question marks are known as space holders. So what do you mean by that? In runtime, I can place some values over here. Now these values are the values which is being defined with a proper data type and which is checked, so that not randomly any value can go here, or SQL injections can be avoided by using this. So the prepared statement interface, it's a sub-interface of statement and it is used to execute parameterized queries, and these all question marks are indicating each and every parameter which will go in the place, and to avoid SQL injections. So we have seen several steps, basically 7 steps to create a JDBC connection, to how to work with a JDBC application, how we can actually use the each and every classes. So I hope you understood this. We are going to see practical representation of this in next video. So if you like it, do share and subscribe. Thank you.